champion. You are a champion. Remember, you're a champion.
G'day everyone and welcome again to the chat. I must say it's stormy and wet here in Melbourne this morning, but it doesn't stop the racing industry. And joining me this morning is the trainer, Natalie Young. Good morning, Nat. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
First of all, very wet morning. I believe you've galloped some this morning.
No, we actually just did a little bit of slow work today on a Friday. It's actually the rains missed us a little bit here at Cranbourne. We are expecting 30 mils today, so I'm hoping it's not going to come. At the moment, it looks all right out there.
I know you and Trent Buston and your partner are both Kiwis, and I hear that strong Kiwi accent every time I speak to you. Thanks to winning the Derby back in 2011, that sort of whet your appetite to want to move to Australia and set yourselves up as trainers in Australia at all?
Yeah, definitely. Like we come back from Singapore, we spent 10 years there, and then we were over in New Zealand for sort of that decade as well. And we only had a team of 20 horses actually, and we were always focused on trying to get at least one or two over for the Spring Carnival. And we were fortunate enough with Sangster, he won as a 2-year-old, and the main owners like Tommy Heppenstall wanted to race the horse rather than sell it. So it was fortunate for us that we actually got to bring him over and win a Derby. It was a bit of a dream come true. So yeah, it was an amazing horse. We actually prepped him for the ready to run, and we loved him, what we felt, at the time. And we thought, well, we'll buy him back and get owners into him, and the rest is sort of history. Ended up winning $2 million from a $19,000 purchase. So it was pretty good.
Once again, that puts to bed that adage of you've got to spend a lot of money to find a good horse, doesn't it?
Oh, not all the time. I mean, in hindsight, they don't really know what they cost, but generally we sort of dabble in that sort of, the 100 to sort of 300 mark. At least then you're getting a nice consistent horse. But sometimes it depends. I think you just got to buy the ones that you really love.
And one of the ones you really loved, I'm wearing its racing colours on my Magic Millions cap today, is Tagalog. I believe when you first saw Tagalog, you wrote in your catalogue, "That's mine." Is that right?
Yep, that's right. That was the one. It was love at first sight. He just walked out of that box there at Arrowfield, and he just looked athletic. He looked like a Guineas winner. Totally got that wrong. He ended up winning the Blue Diamond. But he was just our type of horse. He was a bit of, nice and scopy, nice and correct, and he just had a serious presence about him that we had to grab him. And we didn't have any owners for him at the time. He was the first lot on the second day, and we were first in the ring. And we had to have him. And lucky for us, we got him for 300 when he probably should have been a $500,000 horse.
And how is Tagalog's preparations going heading into the autumn? Obviously, it's running this Saturday, but you've got further plans ahead as well?
Yeah, well, we've sort of got the Australian Guineas in the back of our mind, but we're going to get through tomorrow, obviously. I'm a little bit anxious. I'm probably more nervous going into tomorrow than what I was at the Blue Diamond, to be honest, because, it's kind of need him coming out and winning, and it's a small field, but I think he's really well. Like, he's trialled up nice. He ran fourth his first trial. We took him a Sandown in between for just get him a trip away, and then he won his jump out on Monday beside Jigsaw, the 2-year-old of Cindy Alderson's. That's pretty smart. And he was just sat and Zara just absolutely cruised on him. So I'm hoping tomorrow we can see the real Tagalog back again.
You've also got Sierra Sue in your stable, who is the same ownership group as Tagalog, same colours. Why should people nominate Sierra Sue for the All-Star Mile?
Well, it's 5 million reasons for us, and what is it? $250,000 goes to the person if they can actually get drawn out and win it. So it's a great concept, but we'll try and get down that path. She's actually having a trial on Monday, and she may race next Saturday in the Balmain, so at Caulfield. So that'll be the starting off point. But look, she actually went to Sandown with Tagalog a fortnight ago and galloped with him and was super. So I actually got to swing my leg over her and have a bit of a feel, and she was amazing. So yeah, she's she won that group too, the Kingston at Flemington in the spring, really awesome. So I think she's coming nice. I'm really happy with the way she's going.
And you mentioned Singapore before. It's quite well documented that you and Trent did meet in Singapore. Can you tell us a little bit about your time in Singapore and what happened when you first saw Trent?
He had a pretty good six-pack back then, I must admit. It's changed into one big ab now, but more of him to love, right? No, we went over there. I think I was about 18. Jumped on a plane. I was probably riding 20 in the morning, at Matamata there, and getting paid $5 a ride. God, it's inflation's happened now. You're paying the track riders a lot more than $5 a ride. But no, I loved it over there. Jumped on a plane, didn't know anyone, just wanted a new experience, wanted to travel, and I loved horses. And I worked for a local trainer over there and ended up working for him for about 8 years. So no, it was good. It was really a good place to be in your 20s. There were a lot of expats over there at the stage. Singapore was not far under Hong Kong. The whole Singapore racing was absolutely flying. And you just got to learn, but I was riding Trackwork there and being a bit of the foreman in that too. And you just got to learn a different side of the racing and just, managing staff and, getting the feel of horses and knowing when you had to declare one. They like to have a big punt there in Singapore. So you had to sort of get off one after a gallop and go, yeah, you can unload or needs another gallop or that. So you learn your craft. I think that's where we sort of learned our craft. And you just learn how to condition different horses and different climates too. It's hot over there. So it was just a really good learning curve in our 20s for doing what we do now.
And one thing I notice about you all the time is you're always impeccably dressed. Even Trackwork this morning, you've got a designer hat on this morning. What does your love of nice clothes and always being impeccably dressed for a day at the races come from? Does it come from anyone in particular, or is it just something that you've picked up over the years?
I think it's just, my mum's always been, loved her fashion and always been, probably from my mum, Karina, actually. She's always pretty impeccably dressed too. But I think, you get out of bed at 3:30, you get to work here and you're in jeans and jacket and, you're normally covered in horse shit, to be honest, most of the time. So, when you go to the races, it's nice to dress up. It's nice to feel like a woman, and it's a big part of, the industry is the fashion side of it too. So it's just nice to, I think it's nice to take pride in yourself and care, and it's the same with your horses. You take pride in your horses and you want them looking good, and I think it's important that you present yourself well as well, especially when you're dealing with clients on a daily basis. And but if the horse there see me with a bird on my head or something, at least they know they've got to put their game on and put their best foot forward. So no, it's good. I love it.
I also see you're always impeccably dressed, even at the sales as well. What is it when you're going around at the sales that you look for in a yearling? Obviously, everyone's looking for different things.
First of all, we always do the pedigree. It's pedigree first, and you fold the page, and that's something that you want to look, you look at. And then you go and view the horse, and it's just the correctness. They've got to be correct. I don't forgive towing in. They've got to walk with a bit of purpose. I like a little bit of an overstep. Conformation is really important, and they've just got to look athletic and have a little bit of scope. I think scope's quite important. I think if you're looking at a horse and they look like they can get a mile, well, then you can either bring them back or step them out. So it kind of just covers all bases. But, certain trainers like certain things. I think with us, what you've worked with in the past, that how you can train them. So you sometimes certain trainers have a certain style of horse they like. And I think we're a little bit like that. We're generally better with our stayers, having worked with them a lot in New Zealand and having that sort of, the pedigrees there. So we sort of try and tend to go down that route of just something that's athletic and that'll get over a little bit of ground and just really target those classic races.
Just on classic races and staying races, how did you feel that not being able to get over to Karaka this year? And did you still manage to bid online and buy some online?
Yeah, we did actually. We had some pretty good scouters on the ground. We've got some of the best agents there, and we had Andrew Campbell looking at us for the colts too. Look, he had Tavistock, Werther. He's got a very good eye for a horse. So he gave us his short list, and then we were doing our homework on the ground as well and doing a bit of FaceTiming of parades and that too. So I think we've ended up with about 15. Some really nice horses actually, and we've got a few that really love, and there's a few legs and a few left if anyone's interested. There's still a couple to move, but you can't train fresh air, so you've got to have new stock coming through. For our stable, we kind of really need to be buying 50 yearlings a year coming through, and I love that side of it. Yeah, it's a shame I'm not in New Zealand because we catch up with everyone and we get down the viaduct, and it's a fantastic week. New Zealand Bloodstock do it unbelievable. I really recommend everyone getting there next year because it's just a fantastic week. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely on the bucket list. It's got to be done.
And we also saw a small group of Australians involved in the winner of the Karaka Million this year, Brian Martin's syndicate, in conjunction with Tiakau, I believe, too.
Yeah. Look, it is a great race to try and target. It's not something we've really targeted in the past. And we probably will this year. We've brought a couple of horses that will run a bit early. We've actually got a Talperian that I think may run earlier next year with First Light Racing. I think it's definitely target that next year, the 2-year-old race. But generally we get to New Zealand, we like to buy those staying types, the Derby types, the Oaks types. So that's generally what we tend to look for. But yeah, Giaco did a great job today. I think they trifected it, didn't they? So it's always a good meeting going to that. Hopefully we can get a couple back there next year.
And a little birdie tells me that you love going to Adelaide to take horses to Adelaide to race. What is it that you love about Adelaide and Morfordville?
Wow, I just a really great place. It's like it's a work weekend, but it sort of feels like you get a bit of a trip away, and it just freshens you up a little bit. And I love the oyster bar there, to be honest. But I told yesterday I don't think it's there anymore. I'm pretty upset. Yeah, I've got my name. I did have my name on the wall for doing 6 dozen oysters in one sitting. So. It was a bit of a walking hormone after that, but it's a great place. It's good racing, and it's just nice to get a trip away. And the people over there that you meet are friendly, and just a bit of fun. And
looking ahead to Adelaide, will you and Trent be going to the Adelaide Magic Million sale as well? You'll be having a bit of a look at seeing what's there.
Last year, I don't think we went. I think the year before we got a couple. We may go over there. We'll just see. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a look. We had a little bit of a homework through the catalogue. There's a couple there that I quite like, so we might get there yet.
And you said you're off air just before I pressed record. You are back doing a little bit of track work again because you used to do it before you had your injury. And do you feel riding track work as a trainer gives you an advantage over trainers that don't ride their own horses?
Oh, look, I just think it's just it's just another thing. You can jump on a horse, have a little bit of a feel. It's probably one of the things, I love riding. I love being on the floor. I'm always really hands-on. So it's probably my special area, to be honest. So I like to swing my leg over and have that feel and see if they're feeling sound and see if they're giving you that feel like they're ready to win. It's probably something that I learned in my 20s. So it's probably an asset a little bit. But there are plenty of trainers out there that still ride. I just think it means you can just throw a bit more feedback with each other and, see if the horse is on the right path or, we've got great track riders as it is. We've got some of the best that have been with us from day dot. We've got a lot of girls that, ride shows and things. So they do a lot of that equestrian side of it. And we've got jumps jockeys that can put them over the jump. So, I don't have to, but I kind of like to at the moment to get on every now and then. It just, I enjoy it. I love it. And it's a bit of fun and, I can't be doing it forever. I do have 2 young kids to look after as well. But I still, I really enjoy it. It's just nice to get on a horse and see the sunrise here. And it's good fun.
Just back on the hospitality side of things, I believe a glass of Dom Perignon is your drink of choice after a big win. Is that correct? Yeah, it's usually, if I want a Group 1, that's usually my go-to. Then you can splurge after Group 1 and buy a $400 bottle of champagne. But generally, I'm a bit of a New Zealand Sav girl. I just like my Cloudy Bay Sav. So that's my favourite. I haven't really found an Australian one yet, unfortunately. I'm sticking to what I know. But it's not very often you get to have a glass of wine really when you're getting up at 3:30 every morning. So when you have a win at the races, you've got to enjoy it and enjoy the company of your owners. And I'm hoping in the next few weeks that we're going to be able to mingle with the owners again because it's doing my head in. It's just not as much fun for us at the races when you can't have a chat and have a bit of a play with your owners and enjoy that success and the win. Absolutely. I certainly enjoy catching up with everyone after the races as well, regardless of what kind of role they have now. And one last one too, this same little birdie again, and I will tell you off air who it was, told me that your dogs are fitted with GPS devices when at the stables. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got 2 huskies and they like to run. So they have caused a little bit of havoc. I'm only allowed to bring them in after 9:30. So I have. I've driven around the track a few times trying to find them, but look, dogs are part of the family, aren't they? So they're like an extension of your kids. So I think I'm so used to having them come to work every day, and it's good for the horses too to have the dogs running around them. It gets you used to different things. But I can keep track of them now, thank God.
All right, Nat, thanks very much for joining us today and giving me a bit of an insight into the industry, your time in Singapore, what you look for at the sales and everything else too.
Thanks, Ben. Always a pleasure to chat to you. And I just aspire to dress as nappy as you every time. I think you probably get the best dressed at the races most of the time.
I try. I give it a go. Thanks again.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.